How's everybody doing? Today's video, I would just like to briefly take the time to confess that I have been trying to buy a Telecaster for years. So I have had probably 45, 40 to 50 guitars in my life. And I've had a couple of Stratocasters. And I don't currently have any Fender products, but I've always liked Telecasters a lot as far as just how they sound, the simplicity of them. You know, there's something kind of quaint and charming about them, if I'm honest. And they definitely have a sound that is very unique and can be very good. But I find this to be the case with a lot of guitars where I hear somebody play them, and it used to be that I would hear a guitar that I liked and I would just buy it immediately and just play it and get to experience how it sounds and how it feels to play a guitar that sounds that way. And when you do that so many times and you end up trading those in and you end up like losing money on it, it puts a bad taste in your mouth. So I've kind of slowed down. But I mean, I have had guitars that, I just thought I need to have one of these because it's the only way to get that sound. That's why first I had an HSS Strat because I thought that was like a little bit more rock. But even then I thought, well, an HSS Strat is still kind of hard to play being a Strat, but if I want a Strat, I should just get one that is a legitimate, 3 single coil Strat that's more authentic to the way it should sound, A Strat doesn't have to replace a Super Strat because I had Super Strats. So then I got a 3 single coil Strat and it sounded great and I used it on recording and it did its job as far as the sound that I wanted from it. But at the end of the day, it just wasn't comfortable for me to play, which is why I don't have a Strat anymore. But I've done this with tons and tons of different kinds of guitars, different brands, like almost everything. I haven't tried a Jackson, and I mean maybe some just real off the wall weird brands, but I've owned most of the major brands and multiples of them, and I mostly just play Gibsons because I've accepted that's what I like out of all those. But I still really do like a Telecaster. I like the idea of it more than a Strat, and that has kind of actually held me back because when I got my Strats, I got them trying to think like, this will just give me a sound. I don't really care how it plays. I'm just going to use it as a tool. Whereas with a Telecaster, there would be some sense of that, but I would want to really like it. And that's where I get hung up because I have played a number of Telecasters whenever I see them out in public, and the specs substantiate why this would make sense, but I don't enjoy playing them at all. They're very uncomfortable. I'm not used to a straight neck angle, but you make the same argument with a Strat. But the fretboard radius is so round that is a huge hindrance to my playing style. For whatever reason, with the flat top, my pick always slams and smacks the pick guard constantly, which is really annoying. It's a big hindrance to my playing style. And the vast majority of Telecasters that are being made out there are being made with poly finishes, which is not, it's hard for me to lust after a guitar with a poly finish. And the thing of it is, some of those issues that I have can be resolved on certain models of Telecasters. And so this is why I've always kind of kept my eye out on what they're making, what different types of Telecasters are out there and available, because in a perfect world, a Telecaster would be something like, probably like a Schecter PT or something like that, where it has like a flatter radius where you can actually play it. But I would want a Fender Tele, so I don't want to get a Schecter PT. Same thing with like the Chapman ML3 traditional. I mean, that would be, slightly flatter radius fretboard. You could actually play it comfortably. That even has an arched top, so that would probably potentially solve some of my picking issues, but it's not a Fender Tele. And then Fender themselves will rotate through certain specs on Telecasters that make them more and less appealing, and there has never really been one that solves everything for me. So like, they do make some nitro finish Telecasters. They're a little bit more expensive typically, but I would be willing to pay for it. But they have a horribly round fretboard radius. So I don't want to get a nitro finish Tele and then change the neck to something that's poly or something that, you know, just wouldn't be original. I mean, I would want something that is a ready-made Telecaster. On the other hand, you have some Telecasters that have a flatter fretboard radius, but they're poly. So it's like you can't win. I mean, I look at some of these listings, some of these models, I'm like, oh, what's on this Tele? What's on that one? And it's only a few different things, but they never seem to line up. I mean, a perfect Tele to me would be a 12-inch radius and nitro finish, and, you know, preferably like butterscotch blackguard. I mean, I think that would be perfect, but you can find some of those, but they're not gonna have a 12-inch radius. I mean, you can't find like all those things put together. And that doesn't seem like a huge ask, what I'm saying. You would think that there'd be models out there, and maybe there are, you guys can tell me in the comments, but I'd also like to hear if you guys have had guitars that you thought would be really cool to own in theory, but not in reality, depending on what your preferences are. Let me know. That would be interesting to read about. If you like this video, don't forget to share it and subscribe, turn on notifications, and I will see you guys next time.